Welcome to the Panther Prowl here on the SDH Network. I'm Madison Cruz, and we're going to get you ready for the 2024 Georgia State men's soccer season. Now, we had the opportunity at Media Day to catch up with head coach Brett Surrency, talked a little bit about the upcoming season and what we can expect from his side.
So, another season, Georgia State soccer starting all over again. How would you describe this group coming together for 2024?
Yeah, it's a nice blend of returners and then new guys coming in. You know, we also had some guys come mid-year last year as well too. So variety in terms of guys that have a little bit of experience at Georgia State, and guys again that came in mid-year so haven't had a fall yet, and the guys that are totally brand new. So it's exciting. I think any new year is always unique and brings its own challenges and just again level of excitement. So for us to just get going feels like a long time waiting, and now we're ready.
When you describe the Georgia State program, the Georgia State way, like your identity of how you want your team to be, how do you describe that to new guys as you're wanting to bring them in?
Yeah, so we use the moniker GSU, so Gritty, Smart, and United. We've got some little phrases within each of those as well too. But we want to pride ourselves on the work, and having a bit of a blue collar mentality, and knowing that some days that'll be enough to get the job done. We don't want to necessarily lean on talent, though we feel like we do have it. We want our calling card to be, any given day, any given field or weather or situation or whatever it may be, we give consistent work rate and mentality and attitude. And, again, I think on some days that'll be enough to win the game.
The Sun Belt's an outstanding conference, 3 teams last year at number 1 at various points. How have you seen the conference kind of evolve, and what are the challenges in it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we came together in this iteration a couple of years ago, and then adding UCF last year. You hit the nail on the head. It's a tremendous conference. We obviously had a lot of teams at the top of the national rankings last year. I think when it was all said and done, 5 teams in the final 32 of the NCAA tournament. So it's an elite level conference. For us, we love the challenge, but also understand that, for us to be successful in the league, we have to have good players, and we feel like we have that. And now it's just trying to put it all together and see where it lands us.
Last year, it felt so close at times against some of those really tough opponents. I think back to the UCF game specifically. What was maybe missing a little bit last year that you're trying to find for this year?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I think the margins are fine. There are some really good teams, and the difference between a win and a loss can be minute. Again, I think we have good players here. I think for us, the guys that returned that were part of it last year, I hope that they understand that the differences are small. Everybody's saying the same thing right now. As you go first day of preseason, the excitement and the optimism is really high. So I think for the guys that have been a part of it last year, they understand that it's going to just take a little bit extra for some of those draws or losses to turn into wins, and in the same breath, the wins that can turn into draws or losses as well too. So I think understanding that. Every minute of the 90 is important, and being able to put our best foot forward, and again lean on our foundation and who we are as a program, and again see where that takes us.
Being here for Media Day, and I know it's really early days in the season, it feels like this group really has some chemistry and has some vibe together. How do you recruit to get that? Because you can't always guarantee it until guys walk in the door.
Yeah, there's some vibes going on. That's for sure. We do have some ties, even with the new guys, some ties to some of the returners as well too. But I don't know that it's an exact science, the recruiting side of things. But I know from a staff perspective, we don't necessarily take ourselves that seriously. We want guys that share our values off the field, which is to enjoy what we're doing, and then the same thing goes on the field as well too. When it's time, we want to work really hard. But that doesn't necessarily have to be at all times, at all days. As much as we demand and push the guys on the field and to do the right things just as men, in the same breath, we want them to enjoy themselves. This is in what should be a great couple of years of their life. So we want to ensure that they're, making the most of their time here, and hopefully with that comes some wins on the field as well.
One of the things that stood out to me watching this team over the years is the home field advantage that you guys can create. People talk about the cage and how difficult it can be for opponents to come in. How is it playing there when you have fans almost right on top of the field making the noise that they do?
Yeah, and I think our job is to give them a good product. So, when we've had our successful teams in the past and in our short tenure in the building, you're right. It's been a really difficult place to play, and our guys feed on that. And I think the proximity with fans to the field plays a big part in it. And, I think the pride that the guys take in it as well, too. Goes back, I think, a little bit to always sort of having a chip on our shoulder. And, when we were able to move into the new facility and understand how nice it is, and you look up and you see the skyline of Atlanta, and, for us, we take pride in all of those things. And in particular, when the fans are there and supporting us, and again, we're putting on a good product and a good show, I think it's easy and natural for the guys to get up for it. And, yeah, we always, we're in the building every single day. So to be able to take pride of, where your facility is and where your field is important. And our guys definitely buy into that.
Since you came to Georgia State, soccer in Atlanta has changed a lot. How would you describe where Georgia State soccer fits into the Atlanta soccer community?
Yeah, I think we have a place in the ecosystem for sure. It's definitely growing. Obviously, U.S. soccer in the most recent, but Atlanta United has come in that time as well too. And there's been a good amount of international friendlies and club teams that have made their way through. So yeah, I mean the game is growing, obviously on a bigger scale than just Atlanta, but Atlanta's really bought into it. I think initially Atlanta United had a great product that really attracted people to the game, and they've done a good job of keeping with that as well too as a club. And naturally when you are around something that you enjoy, you look for other avenues. And I think for our in-town community, we're an easy product and one that I think is identifiable with a lot of guys that have come through the Atlanta area. So yeah, I mean, again, it goes back to putting a good product on the field. Typically, people want to watch winners as well too. So, for us to be able to be successful on the field, I think that will help with people to continue to come out to support us. And then once they're there, I think they'll enjoy themselves and and buy into a lot of things that we buy into as well.
We also had the opportunity to catch up with the captains for the Georgia State Panthers in Charlie Ward and Justin McLean.
Early days in preseason right now with getting ready for the upcoming year. Kind of how's the group coming together in y'all's mind?
Yeah, I'll go. So basically, we had a little captain session, just fitness, got everyone going. Boys are looking fit, really ready to rock and roll now. Everyone's excited. Get the balls out tomorrow, then we'll see how things go, yeah.
The Sun Belt is a really tough men's soccer conference. 3 teams, number 1 last year at various points in the year. What are the challenges you guys face in the conference play this year?
I think every game will be a challenge just because of the teams in the Sun Belt. It's just we got to win every game as much as possible, and then we got to, no matter what rank they are, we just got to play them like any other team,
I know you guys have always talked about the cage and how difficult you want to make the home field be with that environment and how teams come in and maybe where they're used to playing. How important is it to have that kind of vibe in your home games?
Oh, definitely. It's important because when we go on away games, it's hard with no fans, different elements such as the crowd, the weather. There's all different things that play a factor. But at our home pitch, we usually we're solid, we enjoy it because it's our space, our own fans. That's what it's all about.
I have a lot of friends in the Sun Belt that say the cage is one of the hardest places to play in the Sun Belt, so we do well.
When you think back to last year, I remember games like the UCF game where you guys were right there with the number 1 team in the country. What was missing last year that you guys want to find with your group this year?
I think, I don't know if it's about something missing. Maybe it's just that mindset of having everyone bought in this year. Really has come together as a team. Because as you saw last year, we weren't far off it, but there's the little percents that stop us from getting that, over the last bit, over the line. That'll be the game changer this year, coming together as a group and really, taking our stride.
Yeah, just that 5 minutes when you're switched off and the game can change it. So mindset for sure will be better this year.
You guys added a couple of new players onto the roster. How have they been intermixing in with everybody else, and how's that team chemistry adding in those new players?
I think it's well. I mean, all the guys seem to get along already. We don't have any disagreements yet, but everything's good.
When you guys think about being leaders and being captains in the group, what's the most important thing in being a leader to each of you?
I think for me personally, it'd just be setting the example, taking responsibility, not leaving stuff out, making sure everyone gets the thing. Hard work as well. Like at the end of the day, it all comes down to that. That's what we pride ourselves on. It's what the gaffer wants, and that's what we all have to put out every day.
I would say for me, it's probably more about positivity just because we got a lot of new guys coming in, hard conference. If their confidence is up, they play well. So that's it.
What are some of the games you guys are looking forward to the most this season?
There's a lot. Obviously, Southern every year.
Yeah.
And then
I'm looking forward to the Marshall at home.
I think Marshall at home
Got family
will be the
coming
best.
out, so it'll be a big, important game for us,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got a lot of friends on West Virginia, a lot of old friends as well, so that'll be a good game.
When you guys think about the Georgia State way, if you're trying to describe the identity of your team, how would you describe it to somebody walking in the door? Like, what is that Georgia State way for you?
The GSU.
Yeah, like, it's that grit, as they say. We're a gritty team. I think everyone knows that. Like, if you play in Georgia State, it's going to be one of them games where it's not going to be an easy game. Like, it's just going to be a dogfight, Yeah. That's what we've kind of known for. But we want to bring a bit more element of playing in as well as the dogfight now, That's what's going to take us to the next step.
The Georgia State men's soccer team is going to be kicking off the season this Thursday as they will be taking on Belmont at GSU Soccer Complex. Make sure you watch the match on ESPN Plus at 7 p.m. and make sure you keep up with all the action for Georgia State Panthers this season on the SDH Network.